Mental overload and the cluttered mind. How cleaning can actually help, and also what's causing some of this mental overload. So, my name is Libby, and I'm the owner of Organize It, and I'm on a movement. I want to talk about how our homes, our spaces, our office, our desks impact our lives, how it can cause us to have a cluttered mind, right? So, if we have a clean home, we have a clear mind. And so I'm on a movement to do a series of videos to really dive deep on why do we feel this way, what's causing it, and what can we do to help it. I think it's really important, as we get busier and busier, our minds are running at 100% capacity all the time. Absolutely all the time. With social media, we're more and more overwhelmed and overstimulated with things, not to mention how overstimulated we are by our homes, our closets, our cars, our desks that are just full of stuff. So whether, it's work, it's family, it's personal, these areas all demand attention, and some of these areas you probably have under control, and some of these areas are probably out of control. So it all is mental overload, right? It occurs when we become too saturated with responsibilities, thoughts, decision making, and it leads to stress and it leads to burnout. I'm a business owner, so I completely get like this mental overload, but I'm also the owner of a cleaning and organizing company. I'm also a mom, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a volunteer in the community. And just a human being. So it's funny because this is really relevant to business owners, but it's also relevant to busy working moms, parents. We're all in a state of mental overload, and it's really, really often overlooked. And it can start with the state of our home. I want to start with our home, right? If it's cluttered and messy, it's going to lead to that mental overload, which increases our stress, our anxiety, and it reduces productivity. It can also affect our relationships with our children, with our spouses, and with ourselves. But there is some good news to this. In creating these series, I have about a series of 7 blogs and videos that we're going to do. And I also created a 36-page guide to help you understand why we're so mentally overloaded. When it comes to cleaning and clutter and organization or disorganization or messiness. But the good news is that cleaning and organizing a space can actually serve as an alternative to mental burnout. What do I mean? Some cleaning and organizing can be soothing, absolutely soothing. And so we have some data, I have charts, I have checklists that we're going to be sharing over the next handful of weeks on how can I observe, like, how do I know what's causing this? It's not going to be all parts of your life. Only certain areas are going to stress you out. Like for me, like, please don't leave dishes in my sink so I can go to bed. um, but, there are certain areas that stress us out more than others. So the good news is that we can use some of this to soothe us, to relax us, to kind of bring us down from that mental overload. And so I'm going to go over and explain the link between clutter and mental overload and how cleaning can help us reset a sense of calm and control in our life. And don't we want that right now? In a state of just absolute chaos right now, everyone is seeking a sense of calm and control in their lives. And that's why I'm so passionate about this topic. And so let's dive in, like mental overload. What's really causing it? And we're just going to talk primarily about the house right now when it comes to mental overload. And it's really juggling too much at one time. I don't know about you guys, but as a mom and a woman and a wife, it's like I'm supposed to do everything by myself. And I'm supposed to be able to like work 40 hours and drive kids to school and drive them to practice and volunteer at PTA and cook dinner and clean a house and be there for my husband. But I'm like, holy macaroni, and still have time to be a good person and exercise and have balance. And those things, we're juggling too much. And so, all of this mental overload, can come to just doing too many tasks at one time. It's like a mental teeter-totter, and it can be excruciating, and it can really cause us to want to give up, right? It can really affect our physical environment. So let's go over a few things of like what can really take up mental capacity when it comes to cleaning when we're juggling too much. So I have some great examples, and there's some great data. We did some research, we did some studies, we pulled various sources, and so when you feel like you're taking on too much, you're juggling too much, and you're like, hey, I seem to clean my house, but oh my god, it takes too long, or it's too hard, or it doesn't come out the way I wanted it to, it didn't look as good, I don't have the right tools, right? All this can cause more stress than the stress of it being dirty. So let's just talk about cleaning. Let's start with the kitchen. So cleaning the kitchen might take up about 30% of your mental capacity when it comes to cleaning the house, right? It takes up about 30% of that mental capacity. Why? Well, the kitchen is one of the most used areas in the home, and it requires wiping down a lot of surfaces, small appliances or big appliances, taking out trash, wiping down cabinets, and cleaning floors. So if you're already feeling overwhelmed, like you're juggling too much, don't start with the kitchen. It takes up 30% of our mental capacity. The next one is cleaning your living room. It could take about 20% of your mental capacity. Why? There is, again, a lot of surfaces, a lot of dusting. Typically, we all have like knickknacks to clean. So there is more detail in the knickknacks, the knickknacks, the picture frames, shelving that would need to be dusted, furniture that would need to be vacuumed or dusted. And then we have the floors. And then to top it off on the living room, if you have kids, you have clutter, right? I have a 6-year-old, so it's like Legos and Jenga pieces on the floor and chest, and she's got crafts and colors and books and crayons. And so it takes up about 20% of our mental capacity. So, right, kitchen was 30, living room was 20. Laundry. The laundry might take another 15%, right? Between washing, folding, and putting away. I don't mind washing the clothes or drying the clothes, but the folding and the putting away is kind of one of my least favorite things, especially if you have small children. It probably takes up more than 20% of your capacity. Yaya's 6, and I'm like, oh my gosh, her clothes are so tiny. There's so many pieces, and she changes so many times a day. Please, for the love of God, stop changing clothes. So laundry can take up a decent amount. It's about 15%. One of my suggestions is just to do laundry once a week. If you're constantly doing laundry, you're constantly doing laundry. And so you're not like batching or stacking those tasks to do them all together at once. And Yaya is starting to do her own laundry, fold and put away, but she still needs some guidance at 6. Austin did it when he was 8, all by himself, under control. And so it's a great habit to start to teach your kids. Cleaning bathrooms, right, adds another 20% to that like anxiety overload. Why? Because it's scrubbing the details, the bathrooms, the mold, the caulking. You can't get it clean. You can't get behind it clean. There's counters. There's toothpaste in the sink, on the counter. And so bathroom cleaning can take about 20% of that mental capacity, because there's a lot of detail in bathrooms, and it's the second most probably used area than the kitchen. And then we have floor care. So doing just floors is probably one of the easiest ways. Well, it only takes 10% of our mental capacity. And we'll get into the soothing things. And that's one of the things I think is soothing. But if you just did a quick floor care pass through, like sweeping, vacuuming, it takes up about 10% of our mental capacity because it's repetitive, and repetitive motions put us in a state of relaxation. So it doesn't take up, even though the job may be bigger or more consuming, it only takes up 10% of our mental capacity. And then cleaning outdoors. I love this. And I think because it's outdoors, it doesn't take up so much of our mental capacity, but it only takes about 5% up. Sweeping the porch, sweeping the lanai, organizing the patio furniture, wiping it down. Also, these areas are smaller, but they are dirtier because they're outside. Only takes up about 5% of our mental capacity. So kitchen was 30, living room was 20, laundry room was 15, bathroom is 20%, Floor care is 10% and outdoor is 5%. And remember, depending on the size of your family, this will vary. This will be different. And, when you want to combine all these things, it's such a mental overload when you're going to say, I'm going to clean all day Saturday. I'm going to spend all day Saturday cleaning the house, right? We want to combine some small tasks, or we want to maybe batch them out so it's not such a mental overload, right? A significant portion of our mental bandwidth is taken up when we do these things. So it leads to cognitive overload, right? And there's a ton of support and research on this very topic, right? So if you're interested, there's tons and tons of articles that can help, that can support. There are checklists, and that's what our 36-page guide is to help you through these things. And we want to make sure that we're not cluttering that environment that's causing even more heightened stress, which makes it difficult to focus, that adds to our mental capacity, our mental overload. And so one study found that women in a cluttered home exhibit higher levels of cortisol and stress hormone compared to those in a tidy environment. Isn't that like the most absolutely astounding thing you've ever heard? In my article, there are my reference links of the articles we pulled to create this. So you can find these exact studies. But I want to repeat that. One study even found that women in a cluttered home, a cluttered environment, exhibited higher levels of cortisol, stress hormone, than those in a tidy home or environment. So very, very important, something to look at. So, the impact, let's go to the next section, and that's the impact of clutter on the brain, right? Clutter just does not make our home physically chaotic. It affects our brain's ability to process information. For everybody out there, all my moms, all my business owners, clutter affects the ability to process information, right? There's a neuroscientific research suggests that clutter competes with the brain for attention, making it harder to really concentrate on tasks, right? Clutter is competing with the brain for attention. So we cannot concentrate on tasks. So if you're ever feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't get anything done, I can't remember anything, I read this book and I don't even remember what I just read, look around your environment and ask yourself, is my brain competing with attention over the clutter? So, in fact, clutter can have a profound impact on reducing the ability to focus, right? Clutter makes it more difficult for the brain to filter out unnecessary stimuli, reducing in your ability to focus on important tasks. It increases mental fatigue. So if you're a business owner like me and you're already mental fatigued, this is just going to add to the mental fatigue, right? This is a cluttered home, cluttered environment. So when your brain has to consistently process that clutter in the environment, it becomes mentally drained. You could just tell me that, oh, I need all these things. They're useful. I mean, in the field when I used to organize, I would hear it all. But it's not worth the mental capacity it takes up. And then it elevates stress levels. Living in disorganized environments can cause stress and anxiety. It 100% can. I worked in the field as a professional organizer. I'm still a certified KonMari organizer. I've worked in the field. I've done hundreds and hundreds of hours working with people. I've now coached business owners. And this 100% statement is true, right? Living or working in a disorganized environment can increase stress levels. It does increase stress levels. And this is true with people who are already managing stressful work environments. So for my business owners, this is essential, absolutely essential that you understand this. It's contributing to the stress. And if you're already managing a stressful situation, it's going to defeat you. once my businesses start to really grow, and this is totally off topic, and I had to manage my own stress, or I'm sorry, I was taking on more and more stress, more and more risk. I told Chris, we need to do a total reset of our house. And we did. And we did a total purge, total reset. And we went to a very minimalistic style of living because I couldn't manage more things. I couldn't make more decisions. And then we're going to move on to the psychological benefits of a clean and organized space. We talked about what it's causing and what are the benefits, right? But so cleaning, on the other hand, can provide some not much needed mental reset. If you want a mental reset, cleaning can really help, believe it or not. It was causing us stress because we didn't know how to manage it or do it. But if we understand it, it can actually really help us reset. And so, here's a few ways that you can really look at the benefit and how it can help you reset that mental well-being. So cleaning and organizing, the psychological benefit is it reduces your stress. A clean home will help you feel more in control. That is true, ladies. It does help you feel more in control. Studies have found that cleaning and organizing reduces stress and anxiety, allowing you to focus better on tasks at hand. You're not distracted. There's not chaos going on everywhere. You can focus, right? It improves mood. There's a reason why people say cleaning can be therapeutic. There's a reason. When I started to gather this information, it was so great because I wanted numbers. I wanted data. I know that it works, but I wanted to prove to you that it works. I wanted you not to just trust my word because you're like, who is this lady? I wanted you to actually have data to be like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. So, right, there's a reason why people say that cleaning is therapeutic to them. Research shows that it gives a sense of feeling happier and more at ease when you're in a clean environment, right? Completing small cleaning tasks can give you the sense of accomplishment, with it directly linking to providing and really helping improve that mood and lower your anxiety. So getting small wins, making your bed in the morning, right? Doing just a couple of the dishes, small wins can really boost that mood, and it can really help increase and really provide you with a better mood because the space feels better, but you also accomplish something, and it lowers that level of anxiety. And then boost focus and productivity. A tidy environment allows our brain to focus on the task at hand without being overwhelmed by visual clutter. And this can help boost your overall productivity and concentration. It really does boost focus and productivity 100%. And then enhance cognitive control. What does that mean, right? So cleaning and decluttering your surroundings gives you a sense of control. I don't know about you guys. I've been through so many phases in my life. I have a 26-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 6-year-old. I've had a kid every 10 years of my life, and I feel like I would be a great study based off like my 20s, my 30s, my 40s with kids and work. And there are times in my life when I felt like I had absolutely no control, but decluttering something, going through a drawer and making it tidy made me feel just more grounded, like, hey, at least I can control my environment. Like I can't control the horrible things happening or my ex-marriage falling apart, but I could try to control a little bit of something, and it helped really reduce the stress in an otherwise chaotic like life or environment. And people often turn to those repetitive tasks, and I talked about that earlier, that really help kind of soothe us. So repetitive tasks like cleaning, are always a way to regain some sense of control. Now, we don't need to control everything, and it's also like but we feel like we need some sort of sense of control. And so sweeping the floor, vacuuming is always a big one. I love to power wash my driveway because it's the repetitive motion and the soothing sound of a vacuum and the soothing repetitive motion can really help that cognitive control, enhances that cognitive control. And then what we want to do from here is we want to create a cleaning checklist to reduce that mental overload. Well, why? Because some of these tasks are really big. And, depending on how you're feeling and how overwhelmed you are, you can create this checklist to help you reduce mental overload. And it's going to be simple, actionable, and it'll be a cleaning routine with it's going to be highly beneficial. And so there's a checklist here in the blog, and you guys can take a look at it. And it's that daily cleaning for mental clarity, like kitchen, wiping down counters takes 5 minutes, and the mental load reduced, if you just do the counters, is 5%. Right? That's so cool. Taking out the trash takes 2 minutes, but it can reduce your mental load, that mental anxiety, by 3%. Love that. The living room, arranging pillows, 3 measly minutes, but it can reduce your mental load by 4%. And so some of these are really great. Laundry, right? Folding and putting away laundry takes, again, depending on how many kids you have, 10 minutes, but it can reduce your mental load by 10%. I'm not going to read each over one of these, but we have some for like kitchen, living room, bathrooms, laundry room, floors, outdoors. And I would love to hear, what do you do in your home to help reduce that mental load that you have carrying on your shoulders that is somewhat soothing, because maybe it can help somebody else. And so a clean space and a clear mind, right? Cleaning might seem like a very mundane chore, right? None of us want to spend all day Saturday cleaning our house, but it can give us significant psychological benefits if we do it and we do it right. And if we're avoiding it, it can impact us in a huge way. So by organizing your home and tackling some small cleaning tasks each day, you can reduce that mental overload, that mental burden, improve focus, and enhance your mood. Whether you're going to just wipe down some kitchen counters or you want to tidy your living room, the act of cleaning can give us a sense of accomplishment and control, which we really need in this uncertain time. And it can really help us reclaim that mental space that was otherwise completely chaotic and, overwhelming, kind of bringing us down. So start small, stay consistent, and watch your mental load lighten. If you ever have any other questions about cleaning, organizing, or tidying, again, my name is Libby. I'm the owner of Organize It, and we're here to help you tackle that if you're ready to hand it off.